Special segment tonight, Europe's addiction. Drugs are so pervasive in this country that we tend to think of them as our problem alone. In fact, however, drugs are a major problem in Europe as well. Heroin and cocaine use has reached epidemic proportions. And as NBC's Brian Stewart reports tonight, European law enforcement officials are now looking to America for guidance.
In Amsterdam, heroin moves in a hot market. Street sales go round the clock. Most drugs are available here, but as elsewhere in Europe, heroin is still supreme. It's an international drug supermarket that undermanned drug squads cannot control. For years, Gerard Tournaar was a police commander here, but he quit in disgust.
When the hard drugs came, the heroin came around 1970, there were almost no addicts in Holland, let me say zero. And now we have about 40,000 in Holland. So when I see it as a policeman, I say that we lost the battle, of course.
You get hooked on smack, that's why.
In Britain, increasingly explicit television ads warn the young about the dangers of heroin.
Whatever anyone says, heroin really does screw you up.
There are now 50,000 addicts in London alone, and drugs have become a major issue in a country that once boasted of its liberal heroin laws.
Well, not today.
Across Europe, drug counselors now find that addiction is spreading through all social groups, making new inroads into the middle class.
There are a lot of more or less normal people that take heroin, and heroin kills. It kills.
Addiction patterns in Europe are often strikingly different from those in the United States. Not as many of the heroin addicts come from broken inner-city homes. In West Germany, many are dropouts, seeking numbed escape from strict families and a still rigid society.
Society says you get born, you go to school, you take a job, you go into pension, and you die. And somebody says and looks, is this what life is all about? This isn't enough for me.
There are far more heroin addicts in Europe, 1.2 million compared to 500,000 in America. Because of heroin's connection to AIDS, the deadly virus spreading as addicts share needles, several cities are handing out free syringes to heroin users in an attempt to limit the spread of the disease. But in Frankfurt, West Germany, one study of hardcore street addicts found that 75% already carry the AIDS virus. And here, fatal overdoses also are increasing. For Marcia Barancula, a longtime addict, the odds are closing in.
I try to get off the stuff. I've been off the stuff for 2 years already. But I came back, but I'm going to try again. I think if I don't make it this time, I'm never going to make it.
Dealing and stealing to feed the habit, Marcia and other West German addicts normally use heroin 4 times as strong as that sold on U.S. streets. Nearly 2 tons of heroin was intercepted in Europe last year, but police know this was only a minor part of the flow.
I think we're all willing to concede now that as long as the demand exists, the supply will exist.
As for cocaine, Europe still lags far behind the United States with that danger. But police say most American fads eventually do sweep Europe as well. And indeed, cocaine is beginning to sweep in now, tons of it a year. Cocaine seizures have increased 5-fold since 1980, and politicians want tougher police action.
Your people in the States have been very good in saying to us loud and clear, don't make the mistakes that we made, don't underestimate cocaine. I'm trying to close the stable door while the horse is still in there.
Laws are being toughened, but there still are not enough drug treatment centers like this one in West Germany. There are now 1.5 million hard drug addicts in Europe, many with children, and like the United States, the continent is having to face up to the mounting social cost of drug addiction. Brian Stewart, NBC News, Frankfurt.